Hello all, 30th of May 2016, Dan here from Essex, United Kingdom. Very windy outside, you can hear, and we've had a lot of rain, so a little bit of flooding going on in the local area. Can't do any work outside in the garden because it's simply too wet, and I will just make a mess if I do any work out there. So what I was thinking today is just do a video that's slightly different to what I would normally do. You can really hear the wind blowing outside. Now, someone was talking to me the other day about how to make money. Now, this is at the forefront of many people's minds nowadays for obvious reasons. We all need money in this modern day society, rightly or wrongly. You need it for everyday things: food, shelter, clothing, car, whatever you want really, but certainly it's true that you do need money if you intend to live in a modern day regular society, if you want to call it that. Now, many of us are in a job that we don't really want to be in, aren't we? So you're either in that job because it sounded good originally, you thought it was going to be good originally, it was accessible, you knew it was going to be regular employment within that job, and you would have a good steady income. However, in some cases this is not necessarily the right way. Tripping over a tomato plant there. This is not necessarily the right way of looking at things, because once you're in that job, so you've got the security of this job. So let's say, for argument's sake, you've got £1,500 every single month coming in after tax, which most people nowadays can, if they live sort of sensibly, can afford to live off of about this sort of wage. Maybe a little bit more would be nice, but £1,500 a month, you could pay a rent with that if you wanted to, and have your food, etc, etc, clothing. So once you're in that job, then that's it to a degree, or a lot of people think that's it, and then they end up 5 years down the line and they think, what do I really want to do with my life? And then a lot of people have either forgotten what they want to do with their life, or they didn't even know to begin with. So what I suggest people out there do is search themselves and think, what can I offer the world? What can I do? Now, this is not a get rich quick video, because in my experience that just doesn't really work in the majority of cases. Of course there is the odd exception to the rule, but everybody would like to get rich quick, but to many people this just does not happen and will not happen. So you need to think of a sustained way of making money. So think, what can you do? So I'm sure that nearly everybody out there, if you think, you can think of something that you're good at. Carpet fitting, carpentry, kitchen fitting, electrics, plumbing, car mechanics, gardening, painting, decorating, plastering. Think how many things there are that you can do. Beauty therapy, massage therapy, hairdressing, making clothes, designing clothes, making sunglasses, designing t-shirts, selling goods, selling flowers, making flower arrangements. Think of anything you can do. I'm not going to sit there and reel off everything that I could think that people can do, but I'm sure there is something. And what you need to do is to try to find a way that you can bring what you can offer to the world. You need to bring it to the world, take it to the world. So you need to think, you can do carpet fitting. Okay, start advertising yourself as a local carpet fitter. You may be able to deliver competitive rates due to your lack of expenses. Now, of course, what you need to do is you need to ensure you don't do anything illegal, and you need to satisfy the legality and the tax sort of rules in your country. For example, you can't go doing things that you're not licensed to do. You certainly can't go advertising to rewire people's houses if you're not qualified and you're not licensed to do this. So I'm not advocating anybody do anything illegal here. You must be within the realms of the law of what you can do, and if you have to get the qualifications necessary for this, then you will need to do it. So stay within the law in what you do, and you will find things will be, in the majority of cases, much easier, and you can do it without worrying too much. So think, what can you do? How can you bring it to the world? And how can you fit it around your current lifestyle? For example, let's say you work a 5-day week, 9 to 5. Many people do this still, although it is increasingly less common to have jobs where you work sensible working hours. But so 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. So let's think, okay, you may have a family, you may have a dog to walk, you're obviously going to have your own basic household things to do on the weekends, but maybe you could devote a whole morning once a week to doing what you love. So, for example, let's say you were going to be doing, you know, a little gardening job in the morning. Well, on Saturday mornings in the summer, you can advertise yourself as a local grass cutter or something like that. If you are a plumber or a tiler, you could advertise yourself as delivering a tiling service. You may even decide to do it at a lot less than what a normal person would charge in order to break yourself into the market and gain experience. So you need to find a way of breaking into the market. You know, put a little bit of advertising maybe in a local supermarket or in a local paper of something that you can do. And you should, if your heart is truly behind this, see this develop, and you will do what is necessary in order for it to develop. So let's say you're doing kitchen fitting. You may need to invest in tools and things like that in order to continue to do this. Excuse me. Had a little bit of a cold lately. So yeah, you will need to invest in yourself, and you will need to learn things. You will need to listen to people and educate yourself. This is not going to be an easy way of doing it, but it could be a way of breaking yourself out of the rat race, so to speak, in order to get yourself where you want to be financially and in a job that you enjoy. You may also find that you don't enjoy it or like to do it quite as much as you think, and that you were better off as you were. So of course, because you've not just jacked in your everyday job, if you're listening to my advice anyway, you will be able to fall back onto that, have that there, and you can maybe think of something else. But of course, if you're all 18 to 20 years old living at home with mum and dad and you don't have any expenses, then you can be far more reckless with what you wish to do. Although I would not advocate anyone being reckless. I personally think for most people a slow and steady approach is best. I know people that have given up their jobs and they then went on to regret it, and then they tried to go back to get their job because they thought they were going to pursue a dream, but it didn't happen for whatever reason. Then they can't go back into their job that they were earning at least okay money at and could tolerate, and then they end up having to find something else, and they're in a worse position than when they started. So I hope that's been a useful discussion for people. I mean, I certainly are currently working on a project myself, but as I'm doing this, I am continuing with my everyday job because, you know, I'm well established in what I do. I'm a healthcare assistant. I've done this for 10 years, and I certainly, you know, to a degree, most of the time I enjoy it. But I like to think that there is a future out there maybe doing something else for me, and I believe a lot of people out there are thinking the same. But of course, on the other hand, there are jobs that are necessary to do. For example, you know, healthcare assistants are necessary, police officers are necessary, teachers are necessary, nurses are, firemen are, but maybe people aren't, or you know, teachers as well, maybe people aren't happy doing these jobs, but they are good steady money, and these days we do need good steady money. For example, if someone turns around and goes, yeah, jack in your job, mate, and do what you love to do, well, you've got to think, I mean, if you've got a £800 a month mortgage and all the bills and the family and everything else, to just go and jack in your job is, in my opinion, irresponsible advice. Of course, if you've been offered a recording contract with a major record label and you're going to make millions as a rock star, and that's guaranteed, then of course, you know, only a fool would refuse that. But how many people are in that position? So just think about what you're going to do, think about how you can bring it to the world, and slowly work your way towards it. And you've got to realise that it's going to be hard work, it's not going to be easy, but I believe that most people out there, if you search yourself, you will be able to think of something that you can do, that you can bring to the world, and maybe make this your full-time occupation one day, or at least have it as a good hobby on the side, which could bring you in a significant amount of money to make life easier. Take care, speak soon.